Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Love Your Business Mom podcast, where we teach you hard lessons on surviving in business with the warmth and brutal honesty that only a mother can give. I am here with a lovely person, Israa. Israa, introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, my name is Israa, and I am a mom of four. And I run a business as well as consult for it's a email marketing deliverability business for D2C brands. I help scale. I owned my own e-commerce store at one point, scaled it, gave it away, and moved on because everybody wanted my services. So pivoted in 2019 and started the Winbox. And yeah, the rest is history. We've been chugging along since then.
As you can tell, superstar, sometimes I don't even know what half those words mean, but I know they're so important to what I do. And so I love interacting with her and her content. That's how we ended up here today, is one of my many lovely LinkedIn connections. So I'm like, I want to talk to you about everything. I want to learn everything from you. First, I would say with the world of like email marketing and deliverability and like people thinking about getting those emails from Nike and stuff in their inbox, what brought you into that world and why is it what you stick with?
Yeah, so I actually, when I had my business back in 2017, 18, that's when like the ad world was changing. I don't know if you recall I think it was called like Cambridge, like breach, where
Mm,
basically Meta was giving away everybody's information out for free.
yeah.
So I was running ads, everything was going great. We were getting sales through ads, and then everything broke in like May of 2018. That's when everyone was like, one of my mentors she did email marketing for affiliates and like the black hat underground kind of biz op stuff.
Mhm.
She was like, just use email. So I went into email, sent a couple emails out. It worked great. But
Yeah.
then the more emails I sent, I used Nike and the big brands, Old Navy, as inspiration. And I realized that they do it. They're like the biggest offenders because
Yeah.
it doesn't, what works for big businesses will not work for little businesses because they have a team and we didn't. I was solo doing everything myself. So the first couple of emails were great and then everything started breaking. And that's where deliverability came in. Deliverability just means helping you inbox, getting your emails to people's mailboxes instead of spam.
Yeah.
And I just went in because I had to survive. It was a bootstrap business. I didn't, no loans, no help, anything. I
Yeah.
literally had to survive the cash flow rat race. So I just took my business that the next 6 months and I literally just tested. It was like a battleground testing and self-learning. I just became really good at it. And I realized that in the e-commerce world, the word deliverability wasn't even on their radar. Like
Mm,
even email marketing was just like whatever. It's just a thing you do on the side. Now it's
yeah.
a big thing post COVID. But yeah, I just learned I was able to scale my store to 100K a month within 2 to 3 months after that and keep it at that rate. And I realized that email was like a bloodline to your business because it keeps that steady cash flowing when
Yeah.
ads break or social media algorithm break, but it's also it's your hub. It's where all the audience insight into your customers' behavior and
Yeah.
purchasing patterns, it's all in your email marketing platform. And I don't think people realize that enough or use it enough. And that's where I pivoted. People were just asking me like, how do you do it? How do you get, I was like, I'll just do it for you because it's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
so so I just enjoy it because it's very personable. Like I love data and I love
Mm,
creating copy that's personal and easy to target. And it's email marketing is like your one-to-one channel. It's a calm channel. So yeah, I just went in there and I actually enjoy it so much. Sometimes I forget to sleep.
we want you to sleep because we want you around for a long time. But something I've honestly been dying to ask you because I didn't even think about it being a thing until you talked about it online was that there's this idea of people essentially hacking their way into the primary tab of your inbox. And I have my own, I've learned a lot more about how email actually works just from who did email marketing over the years. But prior to my freelance career, even when working with marketing teams, I wasn't on that side of things, right? I wasn't with digital
Yep.
until I went out on my own. And so I didn't even realize how much back end stuff is happening when you're sending an email, when it's going through the processing to your Outlook or your Gmail. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people that get emails and did I even sign up for this? Or like, why is this in my inbox? Can you
Right.
speak a little bit to that process and how that works and what companies are doing? So I'm sure just from a curiosity point, a lot
Yeah.
of people would like to know that.
Yeah, for sure. And this is where email is complicated. I think people oversimplify email. They say,
Mm.
hire an agency, they'll create a template, send out an email, great. And then we work with businesses that literally have been through like the mill of agencies, of freelancers, of in-house, and just things keep breaking. And
Mm.
because the reason of that is because they don't build an actual infrastructure or system, the backbone of your email marketing before you even start blasting people with campaigns. So when you say people sign up to something and you send out emails and then you forget where you signed up, you don't even know where you came from. That's a really big one because that's where automations come in. When somebody comes, this is something I talk about often. Identify your traffic. Where are they coming from? What type of, even when you do ads, I'm actually getting a little bit more granular with our clients now because I'm like, tag the person based on the ad, and that you can just ask them, which ad did you see?
Mm.
Because the messaging is different. And then you would know, okay, this bucket of audiences are really interested in this type of messaging for my product versus this one is more general. Or most of them maybe just come through because they want to try it and they want a discount.
Yeah.
But understanding where the traffic comes in is the number one. And that's where, like, this is where the infrastructure starts. Like, your traffic comes in, you ask the question, you tag, and then you automate. You send out emails to help them get deeper down the funnel before you put them on a list and then start blasting them with weekly emails. And I think a lot of businesses don't do that. The reason is because we're moving into this AI world where everybody's just fire your agency or this is taking over your agency or you don't need an email marketer anymore. But then it's you have to do the work then because as much as you can automate, you still need a human behind that, human eyes behind it to look at and analyze what's going on, even if they use AI tools,
Yeah.
because you need to understand what goes where. And I think that's where a lot of businesses fall short because they're just putting everybody on the list. They're sending the same messages. And it's just, I sometimes get on, I'm like, who is, like, I can't even recognize the name in my inbox anymore because I don't even know where they came from. And honestly, it's usually not the DTC brands. It's usually like service-based providers or SaaS. SaaS is really bad. They'll just slap somebody's name on emails, and I'm like, I don't even know how I signed up to your stuff, or I don't know why I'm getting it.
Yeah.
And it's usually just you hit spam or you unsubscribe and you move on. And the retention side is pretty bad when it comes to that structure because nobody's paying attention to
You have me going in a lot of places mentally. I have so many things I want to get into, but
it.
if I pick one direction from the five things I want to ask right now, I would say the human side of data is such an interesting thing to me. I was actually just having a really great conversation yesterday. Shout out Avante, I'll put him in the show notes, but with this guy who's just really culturally attuned and he does look at data, but he looks at it from the perspective of people and patterns and like what we understand as humans. And so I'm curious, like, what would you say is the biggest difference between data analytics from a formula or from AI or from a structure or
Yeah.
framework versus just like using those things and having a person? Because I imagine it's a vast difference, but I'm curious what you think that difference is.
Yeah, for sure. So there's two sides of our analytics when we do email marketing. There's the technical side, which is a set of rules. It's a data set of rules you need to follow. If you're spamming in Gmail, you're probably doing something technical in there. We go in and we investigate that. But then there's the behavioral side, which
Mm.
I would say about 99% of people who end up in spam are usually are usually because of their behavior side.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes, I
So
don't know.
technical, so like everybody talks about, oh, deliverability, my records are off. And I'm like, you can fix that overnight and your deliverability would be fixed.
Yeah.
Your behavior is where you dictate how your relationship is established with mailbox box providers like Gmail and Yahoo and Outlook.
Hmm.
They look at your behavior. How do you send to people? How are people interacting with your stuff? So
Mm.
most people miss that. And this is where you need a human side to it. Because as much as you can feed AI and as much as feedback you get back from AI, it's up to you to interpret and personalize or tailor your behavior and messaging to get to the right people and to keep that reputation high with the mailbox providers. And that's where the missing piece is because everybody's, oh, just automate. I can talk to AI all day, but
Yeah.
I always, when I talk, because I'm experienced in this, I spot all the errors and I
Yeah.
like call the AI out. I'm like, this is wrong. And they're like, oh, you're right. Because AI is it's just a machine with a bunch of information.
Yeah.
You're the one who's actually feeding that information. So like we have a couple of GPTs, we do train them. I am working on one to help like with the other analytical side of it too. But yeah, like you need that human side because at the end of the day, you're still speaking to a human on the other side. No
Yeah.
AI, no amount of AI feedback is going to help you. Even if you like try to automate sorry, did I freeze? I
No,
froze.
you're okay.
Even if you try to automate, even if you try to like automate your messaging, it's still going to come out generic because you're really not speaking to that person. You're just using feedback to regurgitate more messaging
Yeah.
information. So I think this is where the gap is right now. We're seeing it
Mm.
because people are just like, let's automate this. AI can do it for us. Let's not even look at it. And then, down the line, couple months, you're like, why is my email not working anymore? That's where we're at right now. So it's interesting.
It is. It is. And I think for me, it's something where like advertising is so normalized in our culture at this point, especially as we get more, everybody has a phone in their hand a lot of the time and things like that. I feel like advertising back in the day, other than the very obvious stuff like newspapers, a lot of that behavior was like word of mouth, recommendations from friends and family. And it's been really weird in this very technological world and social media stuff to see like us trying to replicate that same effect with technology, right? Like for listeners who aren't like entrapped in the social media space, like UGC content really originated as just like people being like, I love this, you should
Yeah,
try it. And now it's like really interesting, but it's pre-recorded, formulated for higher type content a lot of the time where people are getting paid by a brand to pretend that they're just a regular person going, oh my gosh, I use
right.
this deodorant every day. With email, I feel like it's similar. I feel like when I was younger, if I got emails, it was because like I like signed up for someone's fan page that was an artist, or I signed up for, like I said with Nike earlier, some kind of clothing company to get discounts. I feel like email now is just like a weird expected thing if you own a business at all. And I'm curious where you see the future of that going. Are we all going to get 30,000 emails a day that we have to go through? Is everyone
Yeah.
going to email me? Just tell me more about your thoughts on the future of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I don't know if you know the data behind it, but on average, a person receives around 121 emails a day. So you're already crowded in the inbox. The thing that we get wrong about email marketing is, I think this is especially in the DTC e-commerce world, or if you're selling physical products, people think, oh, it's direct attribution to email. And it is. Like sometimes when you send out an email, you see your revenue go up. But
Yeah.
the science behind that is not that you did such a great job on that email that they're converting. It's
Yeah.
yes, it is your effort are put in there, but the thing we need to recognize is email is a communication channel that keeps you top of mind. So the
Yeah.
next time I want to shop, when I want to shop and I'm like, okay, I really wanted that tank top, I'll remember that I saw in my inbox that Old Navy had a sale.
Right.
So I can just go directly to their website and go there because it's just a reminder. It's like it's making it sticky basically. It's making your brand or your business sticky for the specific thing you solve, especially like for businesses like service-based businesses and SaaS. So we're going to get this a little bit off is because they're not talking about how they solve the problem over and over, that it becomes sticky in somebody's head. So like when I think, I'm like, okay, I need a app that does this for me. Oh, I
Yeah.
saw the email about this. Let me go check this person out. And it doesn't have to be directly through my email. It's just making sure that you are sending emails that keep you top of mind, that so that they choose you over your competitor. And I would say this, people are like, oh, I don't want to send too many emails, I'm annoying people. No, if you're not sending emails, your competitors are, and they're taking your business. This is how I see it. So like the way we do email, it's not about pulling back or being nice or considerate. It's about putting the right messages in your inbox. So when you're ready, you can buy. We don't aggressively do sales or aggressively, because that's
Yeah.
not how you, over time, you're just going to go and spam doing that. But we encourage more emails, but we encourage very specific type of messaging and emailing
Mm.
because we want to make sure that people understand your business does this type of work. This is why they would get it. And like you said, testimonials are they're still the strongest way. Word of mouth is the strongest way to get a new customer. This is why like you see a lot of like affiliate offers, content creators, especially smaller ones, are becoming big now because people trust their neighbors and their friends and family versus somebody random online. So we see the influencer gap kind of shrinking, but the content creator, micro content creators growing because we want to relate to that next person.
Yeah.
We're not just being sold things because this person got an offer.
Okay. So if I'm trying to think of, a lot of times I feel like people who are a part of the audience of this show, it's a very small but dedicated and growing audience. A lot of us are just like regular people running like small, maybe to medium-sized businesses, right? Like we're not the big brands.
Yes.
Although if you are, hey guys, but we are typically not the big brands because we don't have that access or that's just not where we are in our careers. So if I'm like, let's say I have an Etsy shop and I make, I don't know, something like super popular but common like candles. And I'm like, I want my candles and I've got my little Etsy shop and I'm going to events and I've got ways to get people's contact, but I don't know what to do. What would you recommend I do from the beginning to set up the right infrastructure so that I can build an email list and do all the things that all these videos and all these articles tell me
Yes.
to do to grow my business? I would love to know for anyone starting out
Yeah.
what you would recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. But first of all, let me make a disclaimer.
Yes.
Etsy does not allow you to own your email list. So if you're on
Okay.
Etsy, start your own shop.
Good to know. So,
Open up. Oh, Etsy and Amazon do not allow you to own your email list, which tells you how powerful your email list can be. So if you are on Etsy and you're trying to grow your business, I highly recommend moving on to a Shopify platform or WordPress or Squarespace, somewhere where you can actually collect those email addresses and data. But my number one thing that I actually teach in an academy of beginners. People are just setting up their actual shops. And I always
yeah.
tell them, set up your email marketing alongside that shop because once you start running traffic, you want to be able to capture emails right away. You don't want to run traffic, spend money on ads or social, and then they come to your website and there's no way for you to capture their email or data. So you do want to, at the very least, is have a welcome series. So like a pop-up or a form where they can fill out maybe a little bit of information, submit their email, and then you send them like a thank you confirmation and then a welcome series where we give you a discount or we give you a gift or something like that. So we always say, if you're a new business, collect emails right away, send out a welcome email, kickstart your abandoned cart as well, because when people abandon cart, you can also send them emails and reminders. Those are the two big ones. But the one that I think people forget, especially small businesses, is your post-purchase. So if somebody comes and makes a purchase, especially if you're small and you only get like a couple, like maybe 10 or 20 sales a month.
Yeah.
That post-purchase can become really powerful for you because you can build good relationship. I will say the first 100 people that buy from you are like your super fans.
Yeah.
And you need to build relationships. When I had my store, when people purchased from me, I would call them 30 days later and I would have a conversation. I would get feedback. What did they love? What did they didn't love? And then we actually follow up with it. We followed up with an email, and that's how we grew really fast, is because we established that 100 people that went out and basically brought in the business for us. We didn't even have to try. My ads were so ugly that it was so bad. It was like literally, what is it? Alibaba, like literally just
Like it
stock
looks like a
photos.
fake ad on a spam website.
It was bad, but like
Yeah.
the comments under there and like the praises of we used to send actually through our emails, like people who bought, we send them to our ads to comment on there instead of giving us a review. And that would boost our sales. So yeah, make sure you at least have your welcome, your abandoned cart, and your post-purchase, at least 2 to 3 emails to start with. And then collect emails, but you need to do it right away. Don't wait till after your business is running and then you're like, oh, let me figure this out now. Like it gets a little messy and complicated, especially when you're trying to send emails out later. But it also builds so let's go back to deliverability. This is good for you when you first start. If you have a new domain or if you're a new business, dripping emails slowly with positive feedback helps you build a better relationship with the mailbox providers. So you end up in the inboxes faster than not having any automations. And then like you have maybe say 500 people or even 1,000 and you blast them, you're going to end up in spam because you're new and the mailbox providers don't recognize you. So automations do two things. They help you build out a relationship with your customers and with your mailbox provider.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and I wouldn't know that if you hadn't told me that. So that's so interesting. You have a lot of technical expertise, and I'll probably continue to ask you technical questions.
Mhm.
But I do want to ask you something a little bit more personal, which is you mentioned at the beginning of the call, and I know we've chatted before. You said you're a mom of four, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A mom of five if you count my business in there.
Honestly, as a mom of two plus a business, I personally am sitting here, oh my gosh, I can't imagine knowing I grew my business having two kids, but I'm just like, I can't imagine like four. So there's a lot of working parents building businesses right now just with the state of the economy. I know that nobody's perfect and you probably had a lot of things you've had to overcome, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But what would you say you've done that's been really helpful in you growing your business and still supporting your family and being there for them? And what would you say are things that maybe have been missteps that you've had to learn from that maybe some of our other entrepreneurial
Yeah.
parents can avoid?
So when I started my business, I only had two, and they were like a year and 3 years. So they were
Mhm.
babies, and I was at home, so it was like I was around and stuff, and the business was slow. But when it picked up fast, when I got pregnant with my third kid in late of 2018. I
Mhm.
thought because my pregnancies were a breeze, and I was like, oh, I can handle this. I'm equipped to be pregnant, right?
I love
I
that.
can do
You're
this.
like, I'm gonna go with this.
Like literally, like recovery was like nothing. Like I
Oh,
just popped out. That was not the case with number three. He put me in
okay.
the hospital. I had
Mm,
complications, and it's because it was the stress of the business, stress of the family life. So I'm not gonna like paint anything rosy there.
yeah.
This is actually why I sold my business and focused on the Winbox, which is the service-based full management for DTC, because I could not run two
Mm,
business together. I'm very adamant about bootstrap. I do not like taking debt on. I
yeah.
just feel like it would have caused me more stress. So I just strategically and slowly built that. And so I built a lot of relationship ahead of the Winbox. So like referrals were
Mm,
coming in easier. But I had that 2019 year was very hard on me. The pregnancy was bad. I had to deliver early because of it. So after I had him, I think recovery was okay afterwards. It took a couple of years, but I think what happened for me is I built the Winbox slowly. We are just scaling 6 years later because I intentionally did that because I didn't want to, it wasn't always about the money. I think quality and reputation was important to me and actually delivering the work because I don't know if you remember around post COVID time,
yeah.
email marketing agencies became like a dime a dozen. Everybody was doing them because it was lucrative, it was easy. Everybody can
Yeah.
pop in, you pay them $1,000, they'll send your emails. But what we did was what our business was unique. We have premium pricing because we do deliverability infrastructure plus strategy for you, plus optimize your entire funnel. So we help you fix more than just your email marketing. Email marketing is just like the central aspect, and then we help you fix your entire ecosystem. And what was nice for us was, I gotta admit, COVID was actually nice because I didn't have that pressure of schools. Everybody was home. We didn't have
Mm,
the pressure of you need to take a vacation or you need to, it was just like you were working at home all the time. So
yeah.
again, I'm not painting this rosy. It was a good timing for me because I spent the next 3 years. So until 2023 is when I got, I had another kid in 22, which was even worse. Wasn't planned. He came into the world very early. And that's where it was nice by that time because I had a very long standing relationship with my clients that
Hmm.
I didn't have to work too hard, but we were still like only a team of two then. Now we're like a team of five at the business.
Yeah.
Um, but 2023 is when I realized I'm like, we needed to pivot. We couldn't keep I had one falling out with one bad client that we actually
Mm,
scaled to mid eight figures.
wow.
But it was just bad. The relationship was bad. There was like an exodus at the business. That's when
Mm,
I realized I'm like, I need to focus on building for us, but also I'm not going to sacrifice my kids' time anymore. They're grown. But just this past weekend, we took a trip to Canada because I can do that now. But those first 2 to 3 years were literally just grinding. And there's really no easy way to put it. If you have a support system, good for you. If you're not, if you're a solo person doing it and you have kids, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. So this is
yeah.
why I'm like, I don't even bother with the bro marketers who are single living in their mom's basement or wherever overseas in Bali and like
Yeah.
hiring a bunch of offshore teams. I'm like, that's not that's not who our competitors are. That's not our field because I actually work a lot with a lot of parents with young children
Wow.
because I understand their problem. Like it's stressful, it's hard to build, and handing off your business to an agency to do email marketing and you're blindsided
Yeah.
is not going to help you in the future. I keep a pulse on my clients, like how are we doing profit wise? How are we doing business wise? Because I
Yeah.
want you to be stress free. And how can we use our system to help you? So yeah, I use my experience to really build that relationship with my clients as well because it's not easy. It, we're just seeing the light. I just put my 3-year-old in preschool and finally have some time
Wow.
to actually
Congrats.
go all in. But yeah, it's very, it takes time. So it's not, it's something, if you have to want it to be able to do it. But I just want parents to know not everybody wants that business. And it's okay to just to have a side job that
Yeah.
you want to do from home and build it later. And I always say you can have it all, just not all at once.
I actually really agree with that. I feel like I call it seasons because I don't have a better word to describe it. I feel like we go through
Yep.
seasons. Like right now, I'm in a building season, right? Like I'm coming back from having to really focus on my health for a while. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good. I can take on more things slowly, but I can. And I feel like I'm in one of those seasons where I just know that I'm going to spend probably a good 90% of the time that I would normally be like
Yep.
chilling or doing I'm going to spend that probably working, right? And learning new things and growing. And so, how do you navigate knowing when a season needs to change? Because I do feel like it
Yeah.
sounds like you've gone through some drastic pivots. What are your telltale signs after that experience of, oh, whether it's I need to ramp up or I need to ramp down?
Yeah. So my sleep schedule actually dictates when I'm broken. And that's what actually
Mm,
happened earlier this year is because I find myself trying to do all the family things and taking care of the kids and schools and stuff like that. And then I
yeah,
find myself, because of my job, I do have team members that handle a lot of the work. However, I like to be client facing. So I like to do the deep understanding of our clients. We stay boutique. We don't take on more than 6 clients a year just to make sure like we are personalizing our tailoring our experience with them so that they feel like they're being supported the right way. So it always comes back to I need that time where I need to do deep thinking and analyzing or taking the data that my team members have pulled for me and I got to look at it and then communicate that to the client correctly. That's a big thing for me. And I found myself like going to bed at 2 to 3 a.m. and waking up at
mm,
7. And I was like, that's just, this is my like litmus test for my business. Am I doing too much for it? What's going on in the day that I can't do this during the day and I'm staying up so late? And that's where I'm like, okay, who do I need to put in this business to get me out of this role so that I can do this role? And honestly, that's how it works. Like now we're back to 10, 11 a.m., 10, 11 p.m. sleep schedule, which
that's
is much
good.
better because I wake up at 6 and I'm good to go. I don't need too much sleep, but I do need sleep. But that's like kind of my season, like knowing, okay, do I need to focus more on my kids now? Do I need to put somebody in this business that needs to help us do this? So that's how I pivot. But yeah, as much as people want to talk about all the other things, when you're a parent, you need sleep to be sane.
No, I agree. It's something that I continually learn, improve on, backslide on a little bit, and then be like, wait a minute. And so I like that a lot. I do feel like too, you mentioned like the bro marketers, and I work in tech, although I'm in a lot of spaces now, but my main like day-to-day job is a combination of like business development and tech. And
Yeah.
when I was first breaking into this industry, I feel like I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel like I was a part of the community. I felt everyone was very like cutthroat and judgmental. And so what I found solace in was when I started to build community with other people, whether it was women, even like a lot of the men who are parents,
Mm-hmm.
just somebody with a situation where they're a little more empathetic. And I've been able to really enjoy and feel like I understand my part. But what I'm getting at is in the bro marketing space, I feel like there's this idea that you have to like work 20 hours a day, but also go to the gym while you're listening to a podcast and working, and that you sacrifice. And there's even hot takes that go around all the time like, oh, you just don't go to the kids' play. And you don't. I think we're missing a little bit of nuance in there's trade offs, right? Like, I'm sure that with your family that you're like, ah, I would love to go camping this weekend, but we have to get through this big client issue. But I also feel like there's boundaries we can set in place. And so what would you say for people who aren't parents or caretakers who are building a business, but maybe they want to be parents or caretakers one day? Do you have any advice on things they can put in place to make that easier once they are working and maybe having some kids and running a business?
Yeah, if you don't have any kids right now and you're building a business, then you're in a great position.
Yeah.
What you would want to do is make sure you put up rails and have backup when you need it, so that when you don't know what you're going to get with a pregnancy and a child. Like
Yeah.
you just don't know. And you might have a healthy baby who sleeps through the night and everything is perfect. That was my second kid who just didn't bother me. And then you can have a complicated pregnancy and complicated birth, and maybe you have to deal with special needs or something like that afterwards, which takes away a lot, and it's a lot very stressful. I want to talk about a little bit about how especially in America, view business. And this is the mindset that when I started the business, I was in the borough marketing, and the mindset was launch, grow, make money. Doesn't matter
Hmm.
doesn't matter who you burn in the process, doesn't matter who use and dispose and all this
Right.
other crap. Like it was just, and this is the kind of the toxic bro marketing that I stepped out of from, because I was like, what the hell? I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. That's another reason why I grew our business slower, because I'm like, I care about people and I care about quality, and I want everybody to be happy doing their job, because
Yeah.
what is the point of just burning bridges? And people are not disposable, whether you hire them in the US, whether you hire them overseas. I think we have this view that we're superior, we're better at business at this. So like you hire people overseas and then you shit on them basically if you don't
Yeah.
like the way, like it at the end of the day, they're humans, they have lives, and you need to treat everybody with respect. And this is something I noticed when we went up to Canada this weekend. I was
Yeah.
telling my husband, I'm like, we in the US, we work like dogs, because
Yeah.
we have to survive here. People have to work to survive. If you don't work, you're homeless. Over there, you don't have to have a job, and you're not going to go be homeless,
Yeah.
or at least have some type of support system from the government. And I think that shapes the way we do business. We're very aggressive,
Yeah.
and it's very toxic. It's not the way to build. So when I first started my business, I'm always like, yeah, I want to get to the million. I want to get to the 2 million. I just
Hmm.
want to make the money. I want to get a bigger home, do all this crap. And I'm just like, I step back and I'm like, why am I in a rush to do
Mm.
all of that? Building a business that lasts takes time, and it takes a well thought out, responsible leader to focus on doing the right thing, to build it sustainably, and to take
Yeah.
care of your team members as well as your clients. You don't see businesses that scale like crazy and are sustainable forever. It's very rare, and it's usually VC backed. But if you are building something for you and your family, it's take it slow. Take it slow.
Yeah.
Learn, hire, fire, figure out what works for you, but be a decent human being. And I think that's where the difference is. I just left that world. I don't interact with it because I just saw a post 2 days ago on LinkedIn. It's like, I think it was the founder of Udi or something. I don't know if he hired a ghostwriter, but it was just like him standing next to a jet and saying these things where you got to sacrifice. I'm like, you're a single dude. You don't have family.
Yeah.
You have, I don't know if those dogs were his or rented, but it
Not
was just
really.
like, I don't know if it was for the photo op, but to me, it's like I can't relate to that type of mindset anymore, because I'm like,
Yeah.
we're in a world where enough is enough. People are like dying. People
Yeah.
are dying from health issues. You don't see your children. I'm like, if you want to build a family and a business, take it slow, don't rush, and
Yeah.
figure out what you really want out of the business. The money will come when you build it versus building it for money and then
Hmm.
just to put it out there. So I think it's a very toxic world out there, especially social media, and why I hate social media, because it's such a facade. Because we just looked at our finances the other day, and I was like, I've already reached the seven figure.
Yeah.
We just don't sit there and boast about it. And then I'm like, thankfully, we've built something that was great. We paid our home off. Our kids are set.
Congratulations.
Like,
Yeah.
like we're good. And it took a while, but we got there without sacrificing our family, our livelihood. And I didn't die doing it.
Yeah.
And we're getting some sleep in. So like now is like that phase where, okay, how do we scale this sustainably while also, because I love to hire people, but I want to hire them long term. I don't want to do it where it's like I hire you for a couple months and then I fire you because I can't pay you anymore. It's about building slow and sustainably.
I love that. And I feel like We have similar mindsets. The work I do is building systems. I do a lot of the like really unsexy, boring, difficult stuff. In about 3 to 5 years, you're going to be like, wow, life is so chill. And everything is because when I talk about scaling, it's not that grow at the expense of all and build this void that overtakes everything. It's no, build something really
Yeah,
great and build into it and build branch from it. And there's a case for like really targeted, really quick growth for a particular reason. And I think there's a case for really intentional, slow, boring, not getting a return on
right.
your investment for a long time growth. I think the balance of the two is what people get wrong. I would even say, like with the email,
Yeah.
to bring it circle back to your career and what you do every day, I find that a lot of people will launch a newsletter for their service-based business and maybe they have a significant following so it grows really quickly, but then they'll talk about how it's not getting them the return that they thought it would. Like it's not growing the way it would. And sorry, I need to drink more water. I
Right,
jumped
yeah.
I jumped back into that too fast. Speaking of health. But I'll find that people will grow something and it'll go really big and it's blowing up for a moment because of that newness, but then it doesn't give the return. So I guess what I would say is when you're approaching email marketing, when you're approaching your business or just any kind of growth in general, what would you say, and I'm sure it's different in different seasons, but what would you say like in a maintenance phase? Like business is going good, my health is good, like everything's good right now. What would you say is a good balance between those two things? Like the rapid expansion that gives you profit versus the like investment in
When you,
time.
well, yeah, so just to go back, I secretly think a lot of agencies actually hate that they're founders of agencies because they didn't realize that you need cash flow.
Yeah.
This is where I learned my lesson in the ecom world. It's like, holy crap, like it's a rat race. You got to keep that cash going to keep going. Thankfully, I was able to make enough profit to exit without needing that cash flow. So when I started the Winbox, I was like, okay, how do we build this where it's not a stress for me, but it's actually enjoyable? So when I started it, I took on a couple clients. Cool, we're getting paid to do your marketing, but I also was able to learn from different types of verticals on how like the email marketing aspect works in their business. And I actually started the Winbox as an educational platform. So this is where like when things slowed down, when they were in maintenance mode, like right now we're in maintenance mode because we build the back system, the boring stuff.
Yeah.
So right now we're focusing on SOPs, we're focusing on how do we hire, who do we hire, and how do we hire them. We focus on what is important, how do we systemize this so that nobody's confused. We focus on internal communications. This is the maintenance phase because the whole point is to get this maintenance, phase, whatever, like getting all this stuff ready, all this content and like structure and system ready. Because once you start scaling, if you don't have that system in the back place, you're going to break, and it's going to cause a lot of tension between you and clients, and it's going to cause a lot of tension in your business. You might be a great business,
Yeah.
but your system is so bad that when people hire you and they see that you're doing a bad job, they're going to be like, don't hire this person.
Yeah.
So that's something I learned early on. When you are in maintenance mode, focus on building systems, automate, focus on learning how to communicate. How do you handle breaks? How do you handle disgruntled clients? Like, how do you handle that? Make sure that's in place because the exponential growth phase is easy if you have the back end ready.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just want this growth forever. And I'm like, growth is not forever. It's like literally, it's hills. It's not
Yeah.
a one shot up. And I don't think people understand that either. Sometimes you'll get clients and you're like, okay, I'm set. Like, I'm just going to keep growing. But then like all your clients leave and then what? You're back at the bottom. So understand, especially your profits too. Build a cushion because you need to be ready to be able to take on like hard days or weeks or months or maybe a year
Yeah.
until you're back up. Like in 23, we went into maintenance mode like heavily because it was a bad time for clients to hire you, especially with premium pricing.
Yeah.
But we were lucky to get the clients we did, but it
Yeah.
wasn't easy. So 24 and now 25, we're just seeing the growth steadily go up again because we spent that time in 23, end of 23 to 24, just building.
I love that. I think those two things play into each other is like the growth. Obviously, it brings in the cash flow, but it also teaches you lessons. It exacerbates problems. You
Mm-hmm.
get a lot back from the wins. And then when you go into maintenance, I feel like you're able to really hone on that and build from it. So I get a lesson from every episode of this podcast. And for some reason, the idea of the concept where people talk about ebbing and flowing, but my brain's like corny. And so I'm like ebb and grow. And that's what my process is in my mind right now from this is you need to ebb and grow because you can't just
Yeah.
grow without any pauses, without any breaks. And those ebbs back into the tide are what's going to build the momentum for you to grow successfully. And I want to see more people starting businesses and succeeding 20 years from now versus all the people I see burning out and having to start over from zero. So I appreciate that
Yeah.
lesson. What is one thing that the people listening can do, whether it's a mindset shift, an actual action, what's something they can do to take that approach in their business?
Oh boy. I think the one thing that, like you said, the business, when you're starting to build a business, you can't jump in and think you got to do all the things. You got to lay out like so this is how I actually approach my clients and how we keep them. I find the smallest action I can take that will give me the biggest impact. And this is where like most businesses get a little bit confused on, and it's trial and error for me as well. And like we started testing the different grounds and like how do we grow our business, how do we drive traffic, how do we maintain this, and it's trial and error. But you need to focus on one thing at a time. You don't have to be everywhere. That's the first thing. You do not have to be everywhere. I think that was the biggest mistake we made. It just spread us thin. And then I just went back to listen. The way our business operate was we build relationships. That's our biggest strength. So like I went back to the relationship aspect, reaching out, networking. When that was in good place, okay, let's approach how do we use ads and how do we use social media. I've launched a couple of ads, but like we actually scaled that back for now because I'm like, when it's effective, I will run it. But we still needed to build a lot more content because ads needs content and a funnel and the whole shebang, which is what we're doing now. But social media was a big thing. It's like, how do we build? One thing I didn't do for our business from the beginning is because I hate social media. I was never on there. I was the back person in the business, running the whole business for my clients. They call me the unicorn. But then on 23, when things went bad, I was like, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to help me run my business. So social media became a big topic. I hate Facebook, so I try to stay away from Facebook.
Yeah.
We tried, but like Instagram and TikTok and all these more creative platforms were hard for us to run because it's not my style. But we found success on LinkedIn. Twitter became X during that time, so that was a mess. And we just left it. But like we found LinkedIn to be a great platform to connect with our ICPs. And that's where we're building now. We started with networking and then we're going to go into ads later on and then do affiliates as well.
Yeah.
But start with one thing. I think people just think they have to do all the things. Do you need a website? Maybe. Do you need it to be complicated? No. Just put up a page. Where can they contact you? It doesn't have to be complicated. The only thing I do recommend for people is try to get a network and testimonials done because credibility, I don't send decks, I don't send case studies. When my clients come to me, I send them straight to our current clients and I'm like, go ahead and talk to them. I don't even try anymore. I'm like, you want to know what we do? Here are our current clients. So try to build a good client relationship and use that as your kind of referral for your potential ones as well.
That's really smart. I love that. I feel like we actually got a couple action items, which is great. And the last thing is that on season 1, the theme of this season is family values, because I feel like it's a term that has been co-opted in a lot of ways, in a way that I don't like. And so I'm taking it back. It's mine. We're reclaiming it. And I like to say, what are family values that you take into your work? So for example, I tell people all the time, like with us, with our kids, it's be honest with us because I can't help you if I don't know. And if you did something wrong, you're 3 times more in trouble if you lied to me about it. And so one of the things we actually related on when we connected was a lot of shared values just about humanity, people well, and I don't know, not being racist for no reason. So there's just a lot of things that I think we share. And so I'm curious, what's a value from your family that you take into your work?
Yeah, so my kids are always watching and they know so much more about my business now because I work right in front of them. The 3 things I do teach my kids and I bring into my business is honesty, integrity, and empathy. Because I think empathy becomes, it's easy to hate and it's easy to get frustrated and blame your clients or your team members. But I always try to step back and ask what's going on in their life that could
Yeah.
cause this. And as I've grown, I realize most people are not angry at you because of you. They have something going on. So approach things a little bit with empathy and understanding. Of course, you get the one or two assholes once in a while, but I'm very rigid with those, and we have a system in place for that too. Like I said, we don't take bullying. That's another thing I teach. Yeah, know your value and be honest, have integrity. Don't sit there and lie to your clients or whatever. If you can't get the work done, just be honest with them. Most people understand, especially if you're working with the same type of people that you are.
Yeah.
And then empathy is a big one. I think we live in a world where that's lacking because the propaganda and the mainstream media just loves to pit people. And right now, a lot of people are struggling. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. I'm very open to, you want to hop on and talk about it, let's talk about it. What's stressing you in your business? How can we support you? I think business is not just doing the work and signing off and walking off. You can do that. But if you really want to build a valuable one, a good quality one, you need to be a people person. And I don't see that often.
Yeah.
It's very hard now.
I think that's part of what makes you special. I honestly have so many other things I do want to talk to you about and ask you about. So maybe we'll have to have you back on in a future season. But thank you so much for everything you shared, from the technical insights, which I'll make sure that I put disclaimers on the screen about what all these definitions and acronyms are.
Sure.
But from the technical insights to the vulnerability and the personal things you shared, I've learned a lot, and I hope everyone else has as well. So for anybody who feels called to learn more about you or to interact with you more, where would you like them to go?
Yeah, so you can either if you want to send me a DM or say hello or stop by, you can find me on LinkedIn, just my name, Israa Alrawi. And if you would like to learn more about email marketing, I do have a newsletter called The Weekly Wins, and I do send it weekly. We're just in the maintenance phase right now. It goes out weekly, and I try to share one marketing and one strategy and one deliverability tip each week that you can take and apply to your business to help basically boost your retention and your revenue. And it's a very interactive newsletter. I love people replying to it, and I reply back. Come join us.
I
The
love
link
that.
is also on LinkedIn.
I will definitely be in your inbox because I have a lot to learn from you there. I think that's really awesome. And thank you so much for your time. For everybody else, we will see you next week.
All right.